Welcome back to In Case You Missed It Wrestling, where we cover everything you need to know to be up to date with the WWE. And today is Friday, which means Friday Night Smackdown. Now, we had a full week last week, so let's go ahead and get started because I do still want to keep this under 30 minutes. This episode was a huge episode, especially following up Raw on Netflix for their first episode. They answered a few questions that I still had after Raw on Netflix, and there's a few more that I have that I believe might be answered this week. Now, I am recording this pre Monday Night Raw, so I don't have all the answers yet. But one of the questions I had after Monday Night Raw was, where is the bloodline landing as far as weekly TV? And I get my answer within the first couple minutes of the episode. Paul Heyman would kick off the show and be very, very, very proud to announce Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. And I think we all are rejoicing with him. I don't think there's a ton of people that were just ecstatic about Solo holding the Ulafala. I will admit, he did really impress me the last couple of months. I think his character was able to shine, and he was doing some things differently than he had previously, which allowed him to be a more enjoyable character and a more relatable character. Obviously, this is not the last we will see of Solo Sikoa, as he is slated to talk tonight. But we will have to wait and see what he has to say about the entire situation. But Paul Heyman talks about Roman Reigns, talks about the tribal chief, and surprisingly calls Cody Rhodes to the ring. Now, he tells Cody that Roman wants his belt back. And if you're just joining with the WWE, Roman Reigns held the title up until WrestleMania last year, which Cody Rhodes defeated him in a fantastic match. But Paul Heyman would tell Cody that he wants his belt back and declares Roman Reigns for the Rumble, which, if you know anything about Roman Reigns and his workload in the last couple of years, the Rumble was out of the question. But to be fair, he had both major championships at one point. There was no need for him to enter the Rumble up until now. So he will be in the Royal Rumble competing for the spot with Cody at Mania, which is insane. I'm so happy that we're maybe not getting a week to week Roman back, but we are getting a Roman that will be a part of these big moments like the Rumble. Kevin Owens would interrupt Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes, saying Cody is helping the bloodline take WWE back over. And after a few shots at Cody, Cody loses it and chases Kevin Owens out of the arena. Almost as soon as Cody is out of the ring, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga would come out to confront Paul Heyman, which, as you know, the last time we would see Paul Heyman when he was not with Roman was when he got put through the announcer's table a couple months ago by the Bloodline 2.0 in Jacob, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa. Jimmy would come to help Paul, but to almost no avail. He would fight them off for a little bit, but then just be overwhelmed by sheer number. They would put Jimmy Uso's head in a chair, and it looked awful. Like, if you've been watching NXT, you saw what happened to Javon Evans. I thought we were going to get another moment like that, especially after Jimmy coming back from an injury not too long ago and being injured again. And just now getting back to in-ring action, I thought we were going to get another Jimmy Uso injury. But thankfully, Cody Rhodes comes to help and saves Jimmy Uso. The bloodline and the Cody Rhodes dynamic has been extremely interesting because they fought for so long that now they're defending each other against a worse evil, I guess you could say. It seems that Kevin Owens is also teaming up with the Bloodline 2.0, which I don't quite understand, as he wants to destroy the Bloodline. And they are members of a form of the Bloodline, but I guess we'll get more into that later. Solo was nowhere to be found, obviously. because we will be hearing from him tonight, and I am looking forward to what he has to say. I'm quite interested in what is going on in the Bloodline 2.0 because he did say that he would submit to Roman if he lost. It doesn't look like the Bloodline 2.0 is sticking to what Solo said when he said he would submit to the tribal chief if Roman Reigns wins, with Jacob and Tama attacking Paul Heyman, which is Roman Reigns' right hand man. So Solo has either a lot to make up for, or he has a lot of explaining to do. Michin and Chelsea Green would face off one more time for the United States Championship. And honestly, I could watch them face off for the rest of my life. They put on some of the most fun matches that you could find in the SmackDown women's division. I wholeheartedly believe that the United States Championship will be a major, major thing in the women's division very, very soon. Chelsea Green is awesome, and she's already done so much with the belt. I can't wait to see what the future holds for it and for her and for Michin and anybody else on that SmackDown roster that wants a shot at the title. Chelsea would end up retaining with some help from Piper Niven, which makes a lot of sense. But I do enjoy these moments with Chelsea and Michin because they are both incredible talents, and I can't wait for the future with this title belt and the women's mid card scene. To me, it is more exciting than the women's main scene, and I don't really know what's going on up at the main scene, to be honest with you. We would get a backstage segment after that with Nick Aldis trying to defuse a situation between Los Garzas, Pretty Deadly, and Motor City Machine Guns. A-Town Down Under interrupts and basically just says that nobody around them is as good as them. So Nick Aldis comes up with a solution for how all four of these teams can settle this with a number one contender spot. Las Garza and Pretty Deadly will face off, and Motor City Machine Guns and A-Town Down Under will face off as they are both former champions. Las Garza and Pretty Deadly would be the next segment, and Garza would take control pretty early on and pretty much retain it for a majority of the match. Pretty Deadly put up a very good fight, but Los Garza would take the win. Really good match, really enjoyable. I think 2025 will be a big year for Los Garza and Legado del Fantasma, but we're still really early. We'll have to see what happens. I think SmackDown has some of the best tag teams in the WWE on their roster, and I think the tag team division is exploding on SmackDown as we would get multiple tag team matches throughout the entire night. Following that match, LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura would face off for the United States Championship. Nakamura is fresh off his tour in Japan with Pro Wrestling Noah, which, if you aren't watching Pro Wrestling Noah, you're doing yourself a disservice because they are amazing. A fun little side note about Pro Wrestling Noah is Omos is currently a tag team champion over there, taking a longer and extended tour with Pro Wrestling Noah. Now, right before this match, we would see LA Knight throw Jacob Fatu out of the building, which would lead to a pretty funny segment. But this match would end with a disqualification with Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga coming out and attacking LA Knight. Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso would come and save the day, and Aldis sets the main event as Cody and Jimmy versus Jacob and Tama. Like I said earlier, this would be the third tag team match of the night. This is almost unheard of for the WWE right now. Having three tag team matches on one night is crazy, but I'm loving it. I love tag team wrestling, and I am so excited that tag team wrestling is back in the WWE. Motor City Machine Guns and A-Town Down Under would follow up that match and put on an absolute tag team wrestling showcase. Motor City Machine Guns is one of the best tag teams in the world, and pairing them with A-Town Down Under, who has put on some incredible matches in their career, just made for a fantastic tag team match. Motor City Machine Guns would end up winning this match and will face Los Garza tonight. for the number one contender spot for the tag team championship. Now, a funny moment from the Pretty Deadly match, they called out for DIY at one point during the match. Wasn't really explained, but we would get a backstage segment where Pretty Deadly is talking to DIY, and they were pretty mad that DIY didn't come to help them. DIY basically told them to just trust the process. Apollo Crews would interject and tell Pretty Deadly not to believe a word they said. We would move on to the women's locker room where we'd see Nia Jax and Candice LeRae talking about Tiffany Stratton winning Nia Jax's championship last week. Nia Jax said that she would go out to congratulate Tiffany Stratton herself. After the commercial break, we would get the Tiffany Stratton segment where she would state that Nia never bullied her and she used Nia to get close to the title belt. Nia would come out and say she pretty much wants to kill Tiffany Stratton and that she made Tiffany Stratton. There's no way Tiffany Stratton is where she is today without Nia Jax. She would tell Tiffany Stratton that either she gives the title back or she's going to come take it. Bayley would come out and interrupt and says she wants the title from Tiffany Stratton. Bianca and Naomi would come out saying that they want the title belt from Tiffany. This would end in an all-out brawl with Tiffany Stratton ending up on top. Nick Aldis would come out after everything is over and announce that a fatal four-way will take place for the number one contender spot. Bayley, Nia Jax, Naomi, and Bianca Belair would face off for the number one contender spot, and they put on a great match. They put on a great show. Bayley would walk away with the victory, and I am not 100% sure I agree with this. I do love Bayley. Bayley is one of my favorite women's wrestlers in the WWE, but believe that Naomi should be the number one contender without having to participate in this match because she was the number one contender and faced off against Nia Jax when their match was interrupted by Tiffany Stratton, who cashed in. Naomi should get the first shot at the title, if not Nia Jax. They haven't talked about a rematch clause in a long time with the championships, and I don't know if they're doing that anymore because it seems like the number one contender always goes to someone else or they have a match for the number one contender spot. I always thought the rematch clause was a good thing because it definitely solidifies that this wasn't a fluke. This person won and they deserve to have the title belt. But I do understand the getting away from it because you would end up with a lot of repeat matches at big shows. Like we would see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns face off multiple times. It just became repetitive and Brock Lesnar would face off against so-and-so and it'd be the same match over and over again. So I understand them kind of taking that away, but I did enjoy that. And so I'm kind of sad to see it go. Cody and Jimmy would be seen backstage before their match. Cody says that he knew that the challenge was coming. That's not news to him. He understood that the moment Roman came back, that was what he wanted. Mello would come in and throw shade at Jimmy, and Jimmy would throw it right back without hesitation, and one of the funniest moments of the night. We would move on to Bayley backstage challenging Tiffany Stratton. Their match is tonight on Smackdown, so we are getting a women's championship match tonight. She says she is ready, and Tiffany Stratton has never beat her. We would move into the main event. Jacob Fatu cuts an incredible promo before they make their entrance. And if they don't push this man to the moon this year, I'm going to question every decision for the WWE. Jacob Fatu has everything you would want in a champion. He has the ability to cut a promo. He has great size. He has great athletic ability. His in-ring ability is amazing. If he doesn't win a singles championship this year, WWE needs to answer for their crimes. No matter what side of the aisle he is with the bloodline, no matter what story he's got going on, he needs a title belt around him ASAP. Now, do I think he should beat Cody? No. But if Roman ends up beating Cody at Mania, barring Roman wins the Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, that I assume he will also be in if he does not win the Rumble, we will probably get a string of matches with Jacob Fatu if Solo decides that he wants to side with Roman. I think Jacob Fatu is the de facto leader when Solo is not around. And I'll be interested to see what the WWE does with Jacob, as he is potentially one of their top talents. He could be the top guy for the WWE, but we'll just have to see what they have for us in the future. Moving into the Cody and Jay versus Jacob and Tama. Cody Rhodes and Tama Tonga would start the match off, and just on par with the rest of the matches for this night, they put on a fantastic tag team match. Now, there would be some shenanigans going on during this match, as Kevin and Cody are literally at each other's throats. Kevin would come out and distract Cody and pretty much just pull him out of the match. Jacob would end up taking out Jey Uso and getting the win. Then Kevin and Cody would end up fighting backstage and making their way back into the arena. They would find themselves on top of some of the production boxes with some tables down below. And there wasn't really a move that happened. It was more or less like two people holding on to each other as they fell into the tables. They would go through the tables, and that was how we would end the night that night. Now, if you only have time to watch one match from this night, I would say you should watch the Fatal 4-Way for the #1 contender spot for the Women's Championship. That match was fantastic, and it's got some of the best women's wrestlers on the SmackDown roster going against each other with some matchups that I didn't expect we would get to see until there was a few more fallouts, like Naomi and Bianca Belair, Bianca Belair and Bayley, Naomi and Bayley, and then Nia Jax has faced all of them in the recent months at some point as champion. It's a great match. It showcased everyone excellently. It looked awesome. They had a great match. Now, as I stated earlier, I've already talked about just about everything we know about for tonight. We have Bayley versus Tiffany Stratton for the Women's World Championship. Then we have Motor City Machine Guns versus Los Garza for the #1 contender for the Tag Team Championships. And Solo Sikoa will return and speak to the audience. He doesn't have a match set at the moment, but he's just supposed to cut a promo. We all know how that goes. He cuts a promo, somebody comes out and cuts one back, and they start fighting, and they have a main event match set. So I do expect we will see some Solo in-ring action, but nothing has been confirmed at this moment. That is all I have for you for Friday Night SmackDown. You should be completely caught up and ready to go for tonight. Should be a pretty good show tonight. All the cards that have been announced this week look amazing. As I'm recording this ahead of time, everything I know that's going to happen this week looks fantastic, and I am so excited. This is going to be a really good week in wrestling. But for now, that is it for Friday Night SmackDown. In case you missed it, wrestling, this is Blackhawk signing off, and I will see you Monday with Monday Night Raw. Peace.